Hey, what's up, guys? It's Seth. And see, I thought it looked great, and now I'm seeing shadows. Um, I needed a dark color shirt and I needed vertical stripes because I have not stopped eating. Passover is one of those deals where nothing satisfies me. I'm hungry all the time, but nothing satisfies me. And there's only so much matzah you could eat. The Escalade has like 2 inches of matzah. I guess now it's matzah farfel, matzah crumbs, because um, because I kind of pick and eat. And if I'm lucky enough to find kosher for Passover potato chips, then I'm like, oh my God, it's just. But I would like to personally thank Joyva um, for making marshmallow twists, jelly rings. I feel like that's what I'm living on: seltzer, marshmallow twists, jelly rings. Um, it's pretty. I mean, it's obviously it keeps you going. Uh, and I wanted to. Well, there are a couple of changes with the show. One of the Gypsy Felons had a plumbing problem, and that's not a euphemism. He had a plumbing problem. So later in the show, we're going to see a video of one of our live performances, but we will not be live here. To sort of make up for that, I sent Bobby late last night, and I think you see a clock in the picture, and I think it's like 3 in the morning. I sent him just a walkthrough of the bar of Club 4006. So my daughter says that, and I've said this before, my daughter says that it is as if a 12-year-old hit the lottery. So I take that as a compliment. I like that. It's like a 12-year-old hit the lottery. Um, and that would explain the sneakers also, a lot of sneakers. So today I was with Stan, and I said, "You should be on the show again tonight." But after spending 10 hours together, he's like, "Ugh, ugh, I can't with you." Um, but today we were like singing in the car, and uh, we're like an old Jewish couple where, and it's how I am with Brian too. I'm beginning to question these relationships because, like, we finish each other's sentences, and it's just weird, very weird, very, very weird. But I also want to talk a little bit, very little. I know I said no politics, but I saw something and it made me think a bit. But I'd like to start off because yesterday was the tax deadline. So, most people probably did their taxes 2, 3 months ago. Um, I like to, uh, I like to suffer. I like to have anxiety and all sorts of, you know, pressure. So I did mine last night. But I had everything together. So I'm like, oh, I have everything together. I'm going to cruise through this. And I used TurboTax, and I'm pretty sure that I did it all correctly. And if I did, it's usually like I owe a little from one, I get back from the other. If I did my taxes right, I'm getting back like $240,000. And like I haven't made that in years and years and years, but that's what I'm getting back if I did it right. So I'm pretty excited, sneakers, plenty of sneakers, and some more Robert Graham shirts, and then I'm all set. Um, Passover was this week, and I have to say that, I talk a lot about my family, and um, I realized that, like, they have to put up with me, and it's not even like I smile because they're my siblings, but I laugh because there's nothing they can do about it. Like, they're my siblings. So, it's always we're a close family, and we all kind of live close, and it's just how my parents raised us. But I was thinking, like, because I could see how people would say I'm an asshole, but but I own it. Like I'm an asshole, but I own it. But it's always so nice to be with the family, and it's not like, there's no pressure. Um, we don't all agree politically. Well, they do, but there's not. We have our own shtick, our own stuff going on. But at the end of the day, we're family. And my sister, at the end of the first Seder, just made a little statement. And I mean, it brought me to tears. It was beautiful. And it was true. And I was thinking how, even like with my parents, my Aunt Minerva, uh, later in life, like moved in with my parents, and my dad was cool with it. I mean, my mom, it's her sister, but my dad, you have your sister-in-law move in. She drank. Oh my God. In fact, she was cremated and she burned for 4 days. That's how much alcohol. 4 days. But Uncle Pete used to always say, and I know another Uncle Pete quote, but he used to say, this is your family. It's always going to be your family. And keep that in mind. Um, and he's right. So it really is. I consider myself super lucky because they're not just my siblings, but they're my friends. Um, I'm not going to, insert a silly joke, although I had a couple but I'm feeling the moment, so I'm not going to. I'm not going to say that. Yeah, I'm not going to say that. We're also going to go over a few storage truths. This was the most bizarre week that I have had with storage units. I gave one unit I won for very little money, and I gave everything back to the woman because she found me on Facebook. And really, it was all like it was just personal stuff, and I felt like, it's I'm not in this to make $1 million, but if I get a unit that has $1 million in it, hey, that's awesome. There was one unit that had a suitcase and nothing else, and I'm like, as we get closer to the auction, I'm thinking it's just a suitcase. It's going to be filled with cash, jewels, drugs, all stuff that is marketable. Well, these are a few of my favorite things. No, it really. I said this could be a fantasy unit. Um, it turned out to be uh, laundry, dirty drawers, uh, some women's stuff mixed in, and like fake eyelashes. There were those. I don't know what they call them, but it covers your nipples. I'm not sure why I'm doing that either, but it does that. It covers your nipples, like for I guess a dress where you don't wear a bra or something. I don't know. That's not my thing. Um, but it freaked me out when I saw it in the suitcase. There were a lot of bags, just weird stuff. But we'll get to that. I did want to say that I actually, and it's no secret that I am losing my hearing. I've lost a lot of my hearing. Under the headphones I wear, well, not under the headphones all the time. I wear hearing aids, and they make tiny ones, but I wear just normal hearing aids. And when I don't wear them, I can't hear shit. And I do have a lot of tinnitus, so the hearing aids help. So the other night I'm out at Katie. What the hell is the name? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. In Baldwin on Merrick Road, Katie, uh, Irish last name. And Lisa was behind the bar, great night. And I met a lovely woman who was doing sign language. And I thought of my daughter because my daughter is in college, and she, like, does sign language. This isn't actual sign language. This is what someone does when they don't know sign. And the woman was lovely, and she's, like, showing me letters. I know this, I know, like, I know the common signs, fuck you. But waiter, check, check. But, I think this might be love. I think this might be a different kind of love. So, the woman, she was awesome. She was awesome, and she was showing me all kinds of shit. And, we went back to my house, came down here, as a matter of fact, and it was, one thing led to another. But then I was thinking, if you get a handy from someone who's deaf, I guess technically that's like oral. It's like getting oral, no? Because, of the sign language thing. Um, this is what goes on. This is why Stan didn't come tonight, because this is what goes on in my head constantly. There were two jokes I wanted to tell at the end of last week's show. I still am not sure. I don't, because they're Kurt Cobain jokes, and I'm like, I don't know if that's relevant. Um, but it was weird because the holidays make you reflect on everything. And I was thinking about when I was married and how we used to split. Wow, that was a whistling S. Sorry. We used to split the holidays, and we'd do one night with uh, them and one night with my family. And we did this for every holiday, one night with them. My ex-wife was unique. She was a Spanish Jew. No bullshit. Sephardic. Um, but she really was a Spanish Jew. And I used to joke around that she didn't know if she wanted to shop or shoplift. So, and I always thought that was hysterical. And she never really, uh, you know, she didn't think it was funny. Um, but I remember she wanted to get a bicycle, uh, and just like I used to ride my bike a lot in Plainview, and she's like, "I'm going to get a bicycle," and I said, "So, what's the question?" And she said, "Well, do I embrace my Jewish heritage and haggle, or do I embrace my Spanish heritage and pull a knife and steal it?" So, you know, I think she wound up haggling. I'm pretty sure she wound up haggling. But so the family there, the Seder at my parents' house, and I sent Bobby a few pics just of like the traditions, and every family has traditions, and I could remember some of the Seders at my parents' house. And it's the Birnbaum Haggadah, that's the book on the right, is now um, kind of consolidated into the sheets on the left. So it's a traditional 2, 3, 4 Seder. And we go through, much like my dad did, and my brother leads it. And, I could remember at my parents' house this paragraph from when I was a child. This is the paragraph that I used to always want to get. And I could remember my cousin Andrea getting it, my cousin Stacy getting Michael Follickman. All these people would get it. And the first night when my sister-in-law or my sister-in-law's sister, I don't know, she's like a sister, Joyce gets the paragraph, and I'm thinking, Joyce gets that paragraph. That should be me. Like that's, and numerous. I made you thrive like a plant of the field. You grew up and became tall and beautiful. Your breasts were formed and your hair grew long, but you were bare and naked. Like that's the Haggadah has a lot of stuff in it, but that's the one. That is the when you have the Haggadah, that's like the prize of what you get to read, I think. But and a lot of the finger of God, there's the finger of God and the hand of God and reaching out with an outstretched arm. And to an adolescent, uh, there was some funny shit in this book. As an adult, for me at least, there's still some funny shit in this book. It made me think of the Ten Commandments, which was on the other night, and how bad, you know, Cecil B. DeMille, the Ten Commandments, and where's your Pharaoh now, Shay? Edward G. Robinson as like, the Egyptian. eh, It's just weird casting. Yul Brynner was great, and he's like, but it really. Oh no, I didn't close my email, so that noise you just heard uh, was like deafening. But I don't want to touch the computer now, so if it happens again, I apologize in advance. But so I watched it, and I thought about all the jokes that came from it, how God came down from the mountain and he went to the Muslims and said, I have these commandments, and they said we're not interested. Then he went to the Hindus and said, I have these commandments, and they said we're not interested. And then he went down to the Jews and said, I have these commandments, and Moses said, how much are they? And God said they're free. And Moses said, we'll take 10. So, little things like that. I think it was History of the World when Mel Brooks says, oh, I hold these 15. And he drops one and goes, oi, 10 commandments for all to obey. A lot of jokes like that. So it just, as you go through it, I guess what made me laugh the most was that I could recite this book verbatim. Um, Now, in fairness, I've been reading it for 50 years, but it's 1 week a year. And then when I started looking into it, um, there are holidays that people observe that they don't ordinarily, people who are not observant, not religious, and they say like Passover has people who are really not religious, but they don't eat bread for a week. Um, Sephardic Jews can have rice. And because I was with my ex-wife for 22 years, I feel like I should be able to have rice because I was with her for 22 years. So, so I always say, "Oh, I'm going to have rice." I never do, but I always say I'm going to. It just was really, it was really nice, and the holiday is always really nice. Passover was my mom's favorite, um, so that was on my mind a lot. But it's just, I started to say at my parents' house, I could remember shifting the living room to the dining room to the living room, putting couches in the hallway because it was not unheard of to have 50 people for Passover. And, we would go until midnight, and it was just the way it was. And sitting and doing all the prayers and the grace after meals, and I wasn't the best student in the world, but I know it all. I don't mean like, oh, I know it all, but I know all of the prayers, and I know it's amazing because I can read Hebrew beautifully. I don't know what 70% of it means. I can curse in Hebrew. I can curse in almost every language. It's a gift. It's a gift. If you get certain skill sets, mine is that I know a lot of languages. All are foul. A lot of foul languages. I guess that's how you word it. A lot of foul languages. I also wasn't sure about with Passover. I got new allergy meds, and I think I told you I am getting the Flonase now. I love the smell of it. I love the smell of it, and I think I'm less congested. Last week I was so congested, and it turned out I had a cold. So uh, Thursday I was oof. It was rough. It was rough. So, I'm not making excuses. I guess I am making excuses. I do still have the dry eye, and it's better, but as the day goes on, it gets worse. I also think that the storage environment adds to it. So I'm breathing in all kinds of shit. Bobby's going to put up some pictures. I had some units that were bizarre, uh, bizarre. I and again, it's not like it looks on TV, but I'll see something in the unit and I'll say, "Oh yeah, look, that is on the left top a whatever. Oh, that looks like a case to a violin. I bet it's a Stradivarius." And in my head, I'll bid on it, and it turns out to be a locker full of crap. But those go pretty cheap. um, I had another unit this week. This is very typical. And I'll spot something in the unit and be like, oh my God, that looks to me like an amplifier. I see amplifiers all the time that are not amplifiers. So I'm like, that's an amplifier. Um, and it's just not. This one was a unit. They must have been opening a restaurant. Um, I actually won the auction, and it was not cheap, but it had those smokers are $700 on Amazon. Had like 10 smokers, an ice machine, a soda machine, like an industrial ice machine, all kinds of stuff. And I said, "Look at this. This is a unit." And I won the unit. I won the auction, but the renter has the opportunity to pay until the minute that the auction winner pays. So they beat me to it, and I'm glad because it's their stuff. They beat me to it. Literally, I won the auction, but they paid before I paid. I had an incident with a Harley Davidson, and that was not local. That was in Philly. So I won the auction. I tried to get them to do um, to let me make payment on the phone, but there's paperwork involved. So I couldn't make payment on the phone. So they said, you have to do it in person. I said, okay, I'm going to drive to Philly. I'll get to you guys first thing in the morning. That's how I'll start my day. And um, I got in the car and got the cancellation notice maybe a half hour into the ride. Thank God that it was a half hour into the ride, because if it had been more, I'd be like, what the what? Um, I mentioned on Facebook I got a dentist office. I thought I had two. I guess they are the operatories. So it's the chair and the light and the spitzing. But again, even when you're there, my eyes suck. And when you're looking at a 20-foot deep unit, you're like, oh, look, what's that? What's that? I was wrong on the second one. So it turns out it's like a cosmetologist's unit, and it's some kind of, it looks like a dentist chair, but it has some kind of light thing, and I don't know. And what I thought was the spit sink was a some other kind of head thing. It was weird. There are two cool displays that were in that unit that I'm going to use to put snare drums in. But that's the ice machine. That's the ice machine. I don't know if you guys hear it. I hear it like it's dropping boulders of ice on my head. But the unit that I really wanted was in West Hempstead, and it obviously was a either a drum school, a percussion school. So I don't know that people understand or get what the instrument is, but this thing had vibraphones. It had three vibraphones, two marimbas, and they're extremely expensive and very valuable. It also had all kinds of hand percussion, um, lots of like conga drums, African drums, all kinds of drums. And it was not cheap. And again, part of me feels terrible because you want the person to get their stuff. And I'm probably one of the very few people that returns so much stuff to people. Uh, I return, and not just paperwork and pictures. You're supposed to return any kind of paperwork, any kind of important documents. I return pictures. I return diplomas, any kind of awards. Uh, but I've had people reach out to me and find me through Facebook, or the storage place tells them who won the unit, and they'll call me and say, "Oh, can I have?" There was a pillow in the living room that my father loved, or my dog used to eat from this bowl. I don't give a shit. If you want to come to the unit, take what you want. I had a young lady um, tell me that she wanted her furniture back, and I told her, "Come pick it up. If you have guys who can do it, come pick it up." But you have a short window. I'm not, going to keep it forever. I'm not going to hold it. I'm not your new storage place. I'm not holding it for a couple of months. So, so that unit with all the drums and percussion, literally, I think the high bid with either very little time or it ended. I think I was at either 650 or 750, and the unit, the person bought it. They settled. They paid up, so they still have the unit. So the auction gets canceled. That was easily 20 grand worth of musical instruments, even used 20 grand easily. So there was a unit in Connecticut that was similar, but I saw a couple of Ludwig drum kits, Ludwig Juniors, nothing great. But I noticed road cases, like touring road cases. One of them I thought said train. One of them I couldn't tell what it said, but it said property of blank blank band. So, could be the Seth Salwin band, the Seth Salwin experience, the Seth tones. It could be 27 East. It could be the Johnny Mac band. Only saw the property of the blank blank band. So someone was bidding against me, and it was coming down to the wire. What happens is at the end, every time you bid under 2 minutes, it adds, I want to say, 5 minutes on or 3 minutes on. So the end of the auction, the last 2 minutes, it was like a fucking football game because it took 45 minutes maybe. Um, and I won. And I was pretty psyched. But then I have to drive, 2 hours to Connecticut with the trailer on the Escalade and take truck routes and all that. And you don't know. They could be empty. They could be filled with manure. You don't know what the fuck is in it. That suitcase that I thought was like El Chapo's suitcase, and it winds up having dirty underwear and smelly fucking socks. Uh, and like you glove up and you go through it. What if there's a Rolex in that in the shorts? There's a Rolex. Wow. And it happens. So you don't know. So you gotta go through everything. Um, and people who have been doing this a while tell me, be careful of needles, be careful of, you know, I'm I never think of that kind of thing because I don't know. I don't think of that kind of thing. But they're right. Uh, so and I've come across weird stuff. But I get there and I open up the unit and I saw a bag with what appeared to be the neck of uh I thought it was a ukulele or a small guitar, um, and the pictures suck. When you're doing an online auction, the pictures suck. And I think that's intentional because then you don't really see what's going on inside. When you're doing a live auction, it's usually dark. Like I don't have bat-like hearing. I don't have like, amazing raccoon eyes that can see shit at night. So you're at a live auction and you're kind of looking, and I try to listen to what other people say, and and it's tough. And you can tell sometimes people are just bidding you up. But so this was an online auction. It was the most I've ever bid, but I felt like I had to give it I had to give it a shot because of all the road cases. All the road cases. What's in them? Who knows? Let me tell you, I drove there today. I paid for the unit. I opened the unit. I found a couple of amplifiers, brand new, still in the box. Um, I found a bag with uh, laminates, all access passes, hundreds of them, spanning such a long time. And I said, something's in that blue case. And I moved a bunch of shit. There were moved drums and drum cases. The little guitar or uke turned out to be a gorgeous mandolin. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Um, I don't play mandolin. So obviously it becomes inventory and gets sold. But I was like, wow, amazing. Um, there was a giant drum case, and it did say uh, train. I am going to be there tomorrow to go through everything and inventory it and load it into the truck. But the blue road case that I saw that I flipped over said property of the average white band. And Brian and I saw them at Westbury. I think Angela and Diane might have been with us. Um, and we saw them with the spinners and the four tops, and I forget who else. They have the song "Pick Up the Pieces," and that's a medley of their hit. But people in the crowd seem to dig them. Wait, maybe they were with Three Dog Night. It doesn't matter. I mean, I think it's great that a band can tour for years and years off of, uh, a couple of songs. But, um, that was not the highlight of the night for me. But when I saw that I have their equipment, I'm like, this is cool as shit. I have all this equipment. So, just the amount of microphones, the amount of cabling, snakes, it's a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit. But it was the coolest unit by far that I've gotten. Um, and it's not like I have 1,000 units. Uh, I've won 14 or 15, which is, according to everyone I've spoken with, a huge number for someone doing this such a short time. Um, it's no secret. I look for what I know. I look for musical instruments. I look for uh, cool stuff that I want for down here for the bar. I look for unique stuff. I bought a unit because it had a stroller, not a stroller, a baby carriage, like what my mother still had from when I was born, from when I was a baby. So it was probably Marcy's, which means it was Susie's, which means it was Eth's, which means it was Iris. Probably like a baby carriage from 1952. Too bad it wasn't an Eldorado from 1952 because that would be pretty awesome. So, I don't get with the band equipment, and whether it's a set of drums or a guitar, like, I love my drums, and I have them all over the house. I have eh, when I lived in Baldwin, no shit, I had drums on, like, my kitchen cabinets, on my refrigerator. I had drums everywhere, and every time I say I'm gonna thin the herd, uh, I wind up selling 2 or 3 drums and then buying another one. So it's a whole weird, mentality. My brother's friend forever, Don Larson, always teases me about being a gearhead, with music stuff, and I am, but, like, even I have guitars. I know 3 chords, and I have 2 guitars. It doesn't make sense, but, and I keep pointing to the stage area. This is when the Gypsy Felons would have gone on. So I am going to ask Chris. Chris, see, I'm already. Chris should have been sitting right there. I'm going to ask Bobby if he could play a video. This from a few weeks ago. Um, oh, you know when this might be from? Because I think there might be a Christmas tree that my hi hat cymbals are banging into. So I think it might be that video, but it's a short little 2-song medley, and if you don't mind indulging me, we'll give it a little view. All right. I hear the train coming, it's going round the bend, and I hear in the sunshine, sing out the wind. I'm looking for some rhythm, time to drag on. But that train keeps on rolling, all the way to San Antonio. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't play with son. And I got a name in the window. In night, I was so blown. I hit my head and cried. Oh, I started crying. Got it. Oh, I was about to grab a little Passover Patron. Um, wow, I looked fat in that, but I think it's probably accurate because I feel like I look fat in this. A Hard Rock coffee cup. That's terrible. So I do want to quickly thank my sponsors, of course, Larry Scott Pro Gear. Larry is I don't know where I just put that. Larry is the Ludwig aficionado, and he gets everything. Right now he has some sick guitars, PA systems, um, really cool drums. Always has cymbals, tons of hardware, and he's a good guy. And if you bring him Long Island food, it's like feeding a stray. You have him forever. You have him forever. I also want to thank Go Go Granny Racing. And like I said, I could have her on the show because who knew that trotters are the horses with the little buggy, for lack of a better term. There's a real word for it. I call it a buggy, chariot. I know, I can't remember. But what the hell? Harness racing. Harness racing. Boom. Came to me. Harness racing. And when I was with Bangers and Mash, we used to be on the road and we would see, the trotters race from, I guess, Maine to Miami. And there are race courses all over the place. So we used to see the horse carriers with the little chariot thingies. I know there's a word for it, not rickshaw. Eh, it'll come to me, or someone sent it to me. That would be awesome. Um, but they have the little buggy thing uh, on the back, but they put it like on the roof of the horse carrier when they're driving. And also, All American. I hope they don't think that I'm dead because it's Passover, so I'm not eating All American. I'm only eating matzah and oof. And of course, what I miss the most, is Marshalls. I miss Marshalls ice cream, and I should probably let them know that I'm okay. I should probably reach out to them and tell them that Passover will end. I wonder if it affects the local Seaview economy, Massapequa economy, when I'm not going out and eating and doing all the stuff that I do when it's not Passover. Everyone must think like, oh my God, he's been arrested. He's been arrested or he's been killed. Um, so there's they're all great. They're all great. They're great people as far as being just great people. The personalities are great. Very nice people, but they're all good at what they do. They know their stuff, and you can't ask for more than that. You can't ask for more than that. Wonderful, wonderful. Please support them. Um, and you should support all, I say it all the time, live music. All of my Facebook friends are in bands, so it's tough. But we were playing at uh, Toomey's on the Creek, and across the street is another venue. There was another band playing. And like when we took a break, guys from my band went over to say hello and support the other band. So it's a real, and that's really what like the Long Island music scene is very much like that. Someone posted a video uh, from an event for David Z. Paulie put together an event at the warehouse, and Kevin is great to work with. Kevin Sheehan, a lot of great bands play at the warehouse. They have a country night and line dancing, and I feel like that's what I could wear this shirt for, like a line dancing country night or something. But the video, and I can't think of the song off the top of my head, and it was good. It was Heart, Crazy on You. this is a recurring theme where I can't remember their name. But it was a great the guitar player at the beginning nailed it. The vocalist was the whole band was terrific. And the video has like 3,000 plays in a few nights, in just a few nights. So that's very impressive. But it's very indicative of Long Island, of the Long Island music scene. I feel like more so than other places. When I was on the road frequently, when I was in pharmaceutical and medical, there would be a lot of travel, and I would always like to go out and see what was happening wherever I was, Cleveland, Peoria, you know, Atlanta, Dallas, it didn't matter. Maple Grove, Minnesota, Minnetonka, Minnesota. And when you're in these places, you'll go into a bar, an open mic night, or there'll be a cover band, and the musicians are unfucking believable, terrific. But they're in Minnetonka, they're in, wherever. So they're great in their little realm, but they'll never be known. I've heard singers where I'm like, oh my God, guitar players. There's someone on Long Island that I had the pleasure of playing with Bangers and Mash. And Earl is incredible, an incredible guitar player. He's Richie Blackmore's guitar player. So you don't, obviously you're not a slouch. You're Richie Blackmore's guitar player, but it really, you know, he's just terrific. And a lot of, guys I know, local guys or city guys, uh, and I shouldn't name anyone because I'm going to leave names out, but listen to Sirius XM Channel 21, Little Steven's Underground Garage. You'll hear some great music. Um, guys who Steve Conti, who truly is a friend, he's awesome, and I've had the pleasure of playing with him. I've had the pleasure of my band opening for him, his band opening for me. Awesome, awesome, and it's kind of cool when you're driving along and a song comes on and you look and you're like, "Ha, Steve Conti." Ricky Bird. Ricky Bird, I've seen him play live. He's terrific, fantastic. His new album dropped. It's great. And I posted pictures on Facebook of my car radio because it was on, and I'm like, this is awesome. This is awesome. And there were just too many people to name. Um, and I've been fortunate. I've done some great fill-ins, fill-ins with a lot of bands in the city, in Queens, La Raza in the Bronx, and everywhere I go, I'm amazed at the level of musicianship, the talent levels. It's awesome. It is just fantastic. So next week, not to get ahead of myself, next week I'm really torn. I think that we're going to be live at a uh, at a local South Shore gin mill, for lack of a better term. I'm gonna say pub. We're gonna be at a pub. Katie Mulligan's. That was the name from 45 minutes ago. Um, so, and that's where we're going to be broadcasting from. When it gets warmer, we're going to be on the mile. We'll be doing happy hour on the mile, happy hour all over the place, all over the place. So I did want to say that I went to get my passport a couple of weeks ago, and she said, "Do you have an existing passport?" I said, "Of course." And I handed it to her, and it expired in 2016. To me, that's yesterday. To me, that's yesterday. 2016, she's like, "Well, this expired in 2016." I said, "I so I need to get a new one, a renewal." I think was the term I used, and she's like, "No, it's not a renewal because it expired 10 years ago." Apparently, it is a renewal, but, so she took the picture of me and she said, "I can't use this picture. I need to take another because 'cause you're smiling." And I said, "Well, you were taking a picture. Of course I'm smiling." And she said, "You're taking a passport picture at the post office. Why are you smiling?" And I said, "I love the post office. I smile at motor vehicles. I smile. It's what I do." It's like, and the whole time I'm thinking, wow, like this is your job, this is your gig. You do this every day. You meet people, you take pictures, ask people, "Hey, where you traveling to?" That's a nice job. Why the hostility? What what's with the hostility? Um, so then she says to me, "You didn't fill out this part of page 2." And I said, "Well, it asked for my wife's name and all my wife's info, and I'm divorced." So she says, "Well, you still have to put it in." And I'm thinking, why? Like, I needed my marriage date, which I guess I have blocked from my mind. I needed my divorce date. Um, I didn't know the year of my father's birthday. Um, and I said, "Well, I didn't fill in my parents because they're deceased." So she said, "No, we need all of this information." And I'm thinking, it's like they're building a dossier, like I'm some sort of Jewish James Bond, like I'm going to be, a bon vivant traveling the world. I don't know, some kind of like master Hebrew spy or some shit. So I filled it all in, but she's like, "You don't know your father's birth year?" I said, "He's been deceased for a while." Like, "No, I don't." She says, "But you know your mother's like that." And I said, "Well, it was my mother." Like, I don't know. It didn't seem so outlandish to me. Um, and I was thinking, man, if this was a few years ago, like I'd have to call my therapist when I left just for my passport. So she says, "Would you like to have it expedited?" I said, "Sure. What do I give a shit? Would you like to have it sent to you express mail?" So I said, "Honestly, I don't give a shit if you, tie it to a brick and throw it through my window. I just need to get it before the cruise." So she like tilts her head and says, "Do you want it sent express mail?" So I said, "Yes." I said, Whatever, the sky's the limit. I'll take it all. What do you have? Am I allowed to give you a gratuity?" And she like says, "Stop." I said, "No, no, I think you're wonderful, and I'd like to give you a gratuity." So she said, "I can't accept it." And in my head, I'm thinking, "You don't fucking deserve it." But it was weird because she was like, "Rah, rah." Then I get an email the following day from the government saying, "Hey, we received your passport application and we're working on it." So again, like, guys, you have my old passport. You have my new, just give me a new one. Um, I said to her with the picture, "Hey, I'm holding up pretty well, for my age." Crickets, crickets. And I wasn't, I'm not, I was just being me, being Seth. And she's like, "Oh," it was just weird. So then I get an email 2 days later saying, "Hey, we're still working on your passport." And I'm thinking, so somewhere, I hope it's automated, because if someone's sitting in an office somewhere, like, "Hey, we're this much closer. Hey, we're now this much closer." It just seemed very odd. Seemed super odd. So, but that's going to be May 24th, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Here's a little fun fact. I've never been on a cruise. Never, never. And I know that's surprising because I am related to Noah, um, more email. more email. I'm sorry. I am related to Noah uh, with the Ark, and like you know, and my dad was in the Navy, so I feel like the Salwins are nautical. We've always had a cabana at Silver Point, so I feel we're nautical. We're nautical by nature, I guess is the deal. If you see me glancing down, it's because my clock, my Knickerbocker beer clock, has the wrong time, and I don't want to keep people in the studio beyond when they should. I try to be fair because I could do this all night. I really could do this all night. I would like to have cousin Brian on to discuss how we go about buying stuff for here. And I think we're short on time. So I'm going to save that for next week because I do have a video, but it's a few minutes long of kind of like a video walkthrough of down here. And it's probably not as interesting to people uh, who don't live here as it is to me. I think it's fucking cool. Um, there's but I like the stuff like the signed drum heads and the CDs I've played on, and to me that's the cool stuff. Although the some of my little wrestling stuff is pretty cool. It's I don't know if it's a drummer thing. I know Joey Casada. He was with ZO2, and he's played with everyone. Joey is a big wrestling guy. You should actually check out Wrestling with Joey Licious, and it's a fictitious. He's Joey Licious. He's a wrestler, but he has like real wrestlers in it. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Wrestling with Joey Licious, and I think next week we're going to start with the little video tour uh, of Club 4006. I feel like by next week I'll have different shit down here, newer stuff, different stuff. So it's in a way that's good. In a way, it's real good. Guys, have a great Easter. Have a good rest of Passover. I'm trying to think what else comes at this time of year. I get very confused uh, with all of there's holy, there's Ash Wednesday, Holy Thursday, maybe Good Friday, and Easter Sunday. For me, it's Passover. That's it's my tribe. It's my deal. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed. We didn't make a toast, so I'm going to say have a great, great week. L'chaim, enjoy time with your family, with your friends, and enjoy the meaning of the holiday and the meaningfulness of the holiday. Thank you so much for watching. Tell a friend about it. Tell two friends about it. It could be like that Vidal Sassoon where all the squares pop up, and we told two friends, and so on and so on. I'd love to have this really take off. And with that, have a great night, and I'll see you next week at the happy hour with Seth.